Hey, what is up guys? Today I'll be bringing you such a simple yet effective build that's going to be giving you a constant flow of 40 to 60% extra damage with almost instant grenades and a very fast charging super. Now, I'm usually able to throw my super 6 times in one 15-minute Grandmaster. Now guys, it takes me countless of days and hours running Grandmasters every single day to try to test out all these builds that I make, just so I can provide you guys with the best of the best when it comes to builds. For example, in this case for Void Warlock, I tested out multiple exotics like Nezarax, Controverse Hold, and even Ahamkaras. And by countless, I mean countless Nightfalls, as you can see. Like, what am I supposed to do with all these adept hotheads? They're so shiny. Now, I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe so you can help me out in growing this channel. Much love, and let's get to the build. Alright guys, so stat-wise we are going to be aiming for 100 discipline, as much recovery as you can get, and then the rest is up to you. I like to put it in resilience just to have that extra bit of health that's gonna save me once in a while. So I recommend using this with a Vortex Grenade because right now it's one of the strongest grenades out there. As for aspects, we are going to be using the Chaos Accelerant. Now this is going to allow you to overcharge your grenade and make it more effective. So in our case, the Vortex Grenade is gonna get its size and duration increased. We combine this with Feed the Void, which basically gives us Devour whenever we kill a target with a Void ability, in this case Grenade or Melee. Devour comes super useful in this build as it's gonna save you multiple times in your runs. For Fragments, we are using Echo of Expulsion. This makes the targets explode whenever you kill them with a Void ability, and it gives us that 10 extra intellect. Then we have Echo of Undermining, which I was very skeptical to use at the beginning because I really didn't like the minus 20 discipline, the penalty that it gives you. However, I figured out that in Grandmasters, enemies are a lot beefier, and after testing it multiple times, I found out that without this, there are a lot of beefy enemies, a lot of yellow bars that your grenade won't be able to kill. So I ended up trying out this fragment, and it actually turned out to be really good, because you can apply this weaken effect to a boss pretty much permanently, as your Controverse Hold are gonna give you your grenade back whenever the boss is getting hit by your grenade. As for our last fragments, we are running Echo of Remnants. Now this is basically going to be increasing the duration of our Vortex Grenade. So for our helmet, we are going to be running Elemental Charge. This is going to give us 2 stacks of Charge with Light whenever we pick up a Void Elemental Well. We combine this with double Ashes to Assets, and this is going to help us get our super much quicker. Now, the reason why I'm not running any ammo finders is because throughout all my runs in the Grandmaster, I don't think there has been a single time where I ran out of ammo. Now, with everyone running Loosened Finisher, all you need is one of your teammates to finish the champions, and trust me, you'll have more than enough ammo. Now, if none of your teammates has Loosened Finisher, or you feel like you're running out of heavy ammo very often, then feel free to swap it for any ammo finder of your choice. Our exotic of choice is going to be the Controverse Holds. What a surprise. These gloves have been a freaking beast for the whole season already. Now, what the Controverse Hold does is that you resist damage whenever you're charging your Void Grenade. Also, whenever your grenade hits a target, it's going to refund you a random amount of energy per hit. We are combining this with High Energy Fire because this is such a simple yet effective mod in higher end content. It gives you free damage, which automatically makes the Nightfalls a lot quicker. And then you just combine this with a champion mod of your choice. Now, for our chestplate, we are going to be using Stack on Stacks. Now, what this does is that whenever we pick up that Void Elemental Well, instead of getting 2 stacks of Charge with Light, we are going to be getting 4 of them. That means that our High Energy Fire is going to be able to kill up to 4 targets. Now, if you guys happen not to have Stacks on Stacks, then you can replace it with Bountiful Wells. Now, what this is going to do is that you're going to be spawning 2 Elemental Wells instead of 1 whenever you kill targets with your grenade. Now, the problem with this is that you cannot pick them up at the same time, because it will only give you Charge with Light times 2. So with this, you have to wait at least 1 to 2 seconds before picking up the second well. That way it can give you 4 stacks of Charge with Light instead of 2, because there's a cooldown between how often you can pick up wells in Destiny. However, I still like to use Stack on Stacks because I don't have to wait those 2 extra seconds to pick up the second well. Especially in Grandmaster content, you have to be very careful when you pick up those wells, so I just want to pick it up and get out. Now, for resistances, just make sure you adapt them to each of your activities. For our legs, we are going to be running Supercharged. Now this is going to allow you to have 2 additional stacks of Charge with Light. Now if you don't have Supercharged, you can always replace it with Charged Up. It's the same thing, but instead of allowing you for 2 stacks, it only allows for 1 additional stack. Now we combine this with Recuperation, that way we can heal every time we pick up an Orb of Power, and then a scavenger of your choice depending on what weapon you're using. Now once again, I wouldn't even be running a scavenger in here if it didn't cost 1 energy, because with Loosened Finishing being out, there's pretty much no need for it. And finally, for our bond, we are going to be running Elemental Ordnance. Now every time you defeat a target with your grenade, it's gonna spawn a well, in this case a void one. And this is going to be our primary way of making wells. This combined with overload grenades, this means that you will never have to run a overload mod on your gloves because your grenade is always going to be up. We'll also have Devouring Depths just for that extra damage with our void super. Now because we cast our void very often with double ashes to assets, this gives you that extra chunk of damage whenever you cast your ulti. Now I could go for a bomber in here instead, but honestly guys, as you're gonna see in the video, I was pretty much getting my grenade instantly, so I didn't find the need to use a bomber in here. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you know that weapon-wise you can pretty much run anything you want. Now, this is because I try to make my builds as general as possible, that way you guys can play with whatever weapons you're comfortable with. Now, for example, when I was running my Grandmasters, which was the Sabler, the burn was Arc, so that's why I was using a Trinity Gold, which by the way melted every single ad in the game. It was freaking insane. I was always at the top when it comes to ad clear. Now, if my team already had someone running a Gallhorn, I would just put a Hothead for that extra arc damage. If we didn't have anyone with a Gallhorn, I would just swap to it. My primary was a Herod C with a Subsistence and Demolitionist, but honestly I mainly used it just to stun the champions if my grenade missed. Now guys, the way you play this build is very simple. You throw your grenade into a group of enemies. Now those enemies die and it produces a void well. Once you go and pick up that void well, it's gonna give you 4 stacks of charge with light. Now that means that your high energy fire is going to be able to kill up to 4 targets. Now the beauty about this build is that because you're gonna be spamming your grenade left and right, you won't be losing as many stacks of charge with light, because kills with your grenades don't count towards high energy fire, meaning that your uptime with high energy fire is going to be even better with this build. As you can see, I had 4 stacks of charge with light and I killed a bunch of waves of enemies and I barely lost any stacks. Now once you combine everything in this build, what you're gonna get is that your grenade is gonna apply a 15% debuff to your enemies, a 20% damage buff thanks to high energy fire. And then on top of that, if you're matching the Singe, which this build allows you to, you're gonna have another 25% extra damage on top of that. Meaning that your total extra damage that you're going to be doing during a Nightfall can go up to 60%. Now 60% extra damage is a lot. It's gonna help you to kill champions and bosses a lot quicker, which is going to result in more efficient and faster Nightfalls. Also guys, when playing this build, do not forget to spam your ulti whenever you get it. Like, don't be afraid to use it, because you get your ultimate so fast. If you know how to throw your grenade and where to throw it, you are going to get your ulti very fast with this build. Guys, I also want to thank every single one of you for watching my previous video. It's doing very good on YouTube and it totally blew my expectations. We already almost hit 10,000 views on the video. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, so make sure you give it a watch. As always, here's a summary sheet. Please join my Discord and feel free to ask me any questions and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Once again, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video, guys.